Hi ladies, welcome to Wake Up Wednesday. I'm here with Bethany today. It is Q&A Business Spotlight Week where we have a woman from our tribe come in and ask a question about her life and business that I know is going to be really relevant and powerful for you too. So hi, hello,
Hi,
welcome.
thank you.
Thank you for being here. Let me tell you guys a little bit about Bethany. Bethany is a yoga-based lifestyle and business mentor in Lexington, Kentucky. She teaches women how to apply the ancient wisdom of yoga to 21st century life with practicality and style, which you can tell by her cute, adorable earrings that her sister made. So I'm going to pass it right to you, Bethany. What do you want to talk about today? What's your question?
So my big question today is all about collaboration with strong female entrepreneurs who are also a lot like friends. So I am a recent transplant from Charleston, South Carolina to Lexington, Kentucky. And where I had that connection in Charleston, I'm really craving it here in Lexington. And also, as the new kid in town, I'm wondering what are the best practices and tips to create strong partnerships and lasting collaborations in a new city.
Amazing. So we were chatting a bit before we pushed film, ladies, and I was telling you, Bethany, that this is a pretty loaded question. There's a lot of stuff for us as women baked into this because it's our personal desire to not be isolated, which is so easy to do in our culture these days, which is unnatural to us as women. And then it's also about the nerves that come up when you're growing your business and wanting to feel supported in that and not do it in a lone warrior way, like the right way to go about building relationships. And there's like this desire for intimacy and connection in relationship with aligned women. But there's also, if we're allowed to be honest, the desire to be connected to amazing women who are so excited to support us and share our work and collaborate together. And so I think the first thing I think about, and by the way, I can relate to this, and truth be told, I'm actually in this consistently, it feels like. I don't think I have totally mastered the in-town relationship, but that might kind of, we might talk about that. I think it takes time. I think that's the first thing to really honor is that you can't necessarily rush it. It takes time and it takes devotion. And so that would be the first thing that I would ask you to feel into is there space in your life where you're actually devoted to kind of solving this problem, so to speak? So I know when I first moved out of New York City and into Connecticut, I'm not too far from New York City, but it's an hour and a half. I have a kid. So the reality is I don't see those women often. And it would be so amazing to have women in my area. And what I've noticed is if it's not measured in my calendar, if there's not actual space that's carved out or it's not a part of my priority list through the month to be actively seeking connection with people in my town, it doesn't happen. So that's the first thing is like before you even do anything, you have to ask yourself, like, how committed to this am I really, and how important is this really in relationship to everything else in my life? And then, even for me, when I first moved to Connecticut, I had it blocked off in my calendar. I actually had a little note for 2 hours every Thursday, I remember it was, a reminder to build connections. And so with that time, sometimes I would do research. That's the time I would text all my friends from the city and say, does anyone know anyone that lives in Fairfield, Connecticut? I remember I did a Facebook post to my whole community. Does anyone, and I shared a very clear description of what I was looking for in a friend. Like, this is a woman that runs a business. She's busy, but is deeply desiring connection. She loves feather earrings. She, like little things, because those things actually really help. And then women responded to that. So I remember that was the first way that I met women in my area was I did a Facebook post. I texted all my friends that lived anywhere around or that I knew had family here or maybe grew up here or had visited here and said, who's the coolest person you know that's in this area? Can you please connect me? And I was really not afraid to be obsessed about that for a while and obsessed with getting help from other people. And then I remember I had an awesome dinner date one time. I met like 6 different women. They wanted to meet each other too, so it kind of worked out perfect. And then from that dinner meeting, one girl and I worked out, so to speak, and we've been best friends ever ever since. Her name is Heather. And we've done lots of business collaborations later came. Our husbands became friends. So I would say that, like when you look at your schedule, Bethany, like, are you fitting it in and giving yourself space? Whether that's like going out of your comfort zone to reach out to a stranger, admitting that it's really important to you, letting it be a priority, showing up to those meetup groups or those things that seem kind of weird, but doing it anyway. That's like the first step. So how's that piece feeling, like your level of devotion and giving it space?
I'd say I'm about 50% in.
Okay.
Now that you would have hit it out like that. And it's funny, when you said it, I'm like, yes, her. That's the person I'm looking for.
Yes.
When you described it, it's just so perfect. And I do things like I'll go to an exercise class, but then beyond that, it's not, and I'll chat before and after, but then there's no further developing of the relationship after that. And I even know that there are some meetups, but yeah, you're right. I'm not taking that extra step, like that next step forward and really being proactive in cultivating those relationships.
For me, it helped to have a goal. I also remember, same thing, when it's manifestation. When you know what you're looking for, you're going to spot her. It's the same thing. Like if you are clear that like you're a girl, for me, I'm not joking. When you showed up and you were wearing feather earrings, I was like, we're connected. I already know because we have this sweet thing that we love and that's something to talk about already, right? Like it could be something simple like that, and it could be even more depth. Like she doesn't have kids yet because that's, too busy for me, or for me, I want a woman that has kids because then we understand, like I could be that clear about what I'm looking for, because then even when you're at Whole Foods in the market and you see her, you're going to know. And then the next step is like having action around it. And that's the part where we have to like it's nerve-wracking, where it is hard for whatever reason to put ourselves out there and make friends. So it's like to challenge yourself, like maybe you have a goal, like it's like once a week, you're giving your phone number to at least one person. And maybe it's not the perfect person. Maybe it's like the girl in the exercise group that you like, you don't know if you would be great friends, but you're at least willing to give her your number and say like, hey, text me next time you're coming to this class, something. And if you have a goal, it'll help you to like push yourself past the nerves, I think, like that. So maybe it's like making one contact a week or getting one phone number a week or something like that.
I like the idea of having that dinner date, that group that you did. I think that would be so fun. And even like,
and the great part about that is you could ask the girl in the class, like, bring someone, and I'll, try to like have other people bring them, because it's exactly that way that. And plus, it's easier than like a one-on-one date for the first time. Because again, like some of the women at that table, had we been alone, it might have been a little more awkward. But because we were all there, it softened the kind of relationship building. And everybody wants to build relationships. We're all so over-isolated that there's rarely women who are like, I feel great. I have all the social people I can handle, unless that's their like jam and their social light. But yeah.
Right.
So the other thing I really wanted to honor in your question, though, is because there's this piece of us that wants these personal relationships for our personal life, but there's also this deep desire to be more comfortable building collaborations. And I know for you, it's even like more of a soft spot because you had it where you were and like starting over. I can feel like that was the same for me from New York City. It was like, it was just so easy and it was happening. And then it's starting over is different. So the first thing I want to say is also, like, just own that you have worldwide friends. Just own that you still have awesome, like you haven't lost anything. And we can be so connected now in a worldwide way. It just means there also needs to be more devotion in your calendar for travel. And to like, and because so much stuff we can collaborate virtually, and that can feel really good. So you don't have to wait all the time it'll take to build people in your area or find them. Like, just put in your calendar, like, go to a retreat this year, and know that that's not an investment. Give yourself permission to make that investment at being in in-person trainings, if you have to travel to them, retreats that are like business masterminds or things, because And I want you to look at them like a business investment at this time and think about it like that you deserve that, your business needs that because you're in this new space and you don't have this, you need to travel. Maybe you need to visit South Carolina until your new friendships are here and meet new women in different places or in places nearby you, where you are. And because it is true when you build those collaborations, your business grows. It really does. And so it's an investment, not only in yourself and your livelihood, but in your business. And the other thing I would say is like a tip, because you really asked like, how do, as like the new girl in town, or how do I build these valuable collaborations, especially if it's like, maybe you have some women in mind that you'd love to connect with virtually or in person, and it feels a little out of your league, or you're telling yourself, whatever stories we have. I've always found the best way to approach that is to think, how can I provide value to this person? Like real value to them. What could I do that would make life easier for them or give them something that they need? So I remember doing that in Connecticut. I kind of had a crush on our real estate agent, and she was just kind of woo-woo and awesome. And I just saw how she was building her business online, and I knew I had some tips that would really support her and a couple resources that would help her up level or have more fun with her marketing. So I just wrote her a note, and my introduction was not let's have coffee or something like that. It was hey, I love what you're doing. These are the things I thought these resources might support you, and sent them off to her. And what happens is when you do something kind for someone else, maybe it's a studio that you love, that you'd love to teach at in your area, or a local magazine that writes for you guys, or I don't know, a boutique owner that you just think is awesome and you love her store. If you can think of a way to add value, what happens there is in our human nature, what that person wants to do is do something back for you, and you automatically have a place in their heart because you just supported them and made life easier. So I kind of found that as an easier way, also because it's not about you. If I was nervous or getting in my head about what they're going to think of me, it kind of just got me out of my head and thinking about them instead. And then it felt oh, I could definitely extend a nice offering to this person. And sometimes it would literally be I remember an event, a woman that leads a big event here in Connecticut, I just wrote her, offered to film testimonial videos at her event. I said, this is something I know how to do. I know how to get a great testimonial from people. I'd be happy to come to your next event and do this just to support you and get you some awesome testimonials. That grew into a business partnership because, of course, she was looking for the next thing that she could do to support my business. So how's that all feel? And as you're kind of hearing all this, what's becoming most valuable? What's feeling okay, this is helping?
So I've had it's funny, it's all helping so much. And the big epiphany that I've had is I think back to, or not even back to anything, but I think I've been approaching it as the girl that's going on the first date. That's do you want to marry me?
Yeah.
Instead of maybe let's just go have tea or coffee. And I think I've, back to the very, very first thing you said is have patience with that, and slow down a little bit and really just look at not only the kind of people that I want to be hanging out with, but also what can I offer them and what can I bring to the table, and just give it away, not even for no reason except for just love and connection and friendship. That feels so good.
Oh, yeah. I can feel that also that's important. Your intention really coming from that space is going to curate that space, which is what you want.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I was definitely moving from a space of it's funny how quickly the energy can just shift when you just look at it from a different light. Totally. But definitely I was moving from that space of this is going to lead to something epic and amazing. And just take the pressure off of it. Yeah. And have some fun.
Totally.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, totally. And it's even making me think, it is important at this stage in our life. I really believe the people we spend the most time with, the 5 people in our circle, have the most effect on our beliefs. It really does. It dictates what we believe is possible for ourselves and in the world. And so there's no rush to kind of settle and try to find those people, because you really can be spacious and really thoughtful about who you're calling into your life and how you're going to build those friendships, and even allow yourself to be discerning, you know, like you really are at a space where like you can date leisurely. Like there's no rush to build these friendships, because if you take your time in the beginning, it's almost like, I see this with hiring a lot in my team. They say like hire slow, fire fast. Right. And like really with friendships, you know, like once you get someone a little bit shady or off into your sphere, sometimes it's a little hard to get them out, or it causes a lot of drama. And so like take your time and find the right women who like really are the kind of women you want to have in your life, and then slowly build those relationships. And in the meantime, lean on all the girlfriends you've already cultivated that are still great, even though they're not right where you are.
Right. And I still talk to them all the time. Yeah. So I still have it. I just forget.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's good to remember. To remember.
to remember. Yes. Uh-huh.
Thank you so much for bringing this question. And ladies, we're so curious to know, first of all, if you are in Lexington, Kentucky, and you want to be best friends with Bethany, reach out to her. And if you're in Fairfield, Connecticut, and we haven't connected yet, reach out to me. And let us know how this is resonating with you. And if you have any tips that we missed or things that have worked really well for you, put them in the comments below, and Bethany and I will be there to comment and check them out. And thanks again, Bethany, for being here. And good luck. Keep us posted on your relationship building.
I will. Thank you so much. This has been really helpful.
See you next week, ladies. Do you want to become a confident and masterful life coach? Imagine feeling completely supported by a brilliant sisterhood while you launch your dream business and attain financial freedom. Mentor Masterclass is an all-in life coach training program for 40 women who are on a mission to learn from the best. You can join Mentor Masterclass at the beginning of any new month while spaces are available. Head on over to mentormasterclass.com to learn more about the training and apply now.